Imagine standing before the teacher you trust most, only to have him whisper a truth so transformative it carries a weight the world wasn't ready to bear. In the suppressed Gospel of Thomas, Jesus takes one man aside to reveal a secret so profound that Thomas warned his peers the shock of hearing it would be more than they could handle. For 20 centuries, this frequency has been veiled, hidden in the desert sands, not just to be forgotten, but to be protected. But tonight, that silence ends. You are about to encounter the exact vibrational key that Thomas heard the forgotten resonance the ancient Gnostics sacrificed everything to preserve. This is why the gate to the monad has remained out of reach until now. Right now, place your hand over the center of your chest. Feel your heartbeat beneath your palm. That rhythm you are feeling is not random. It is the echo of something ancient, something the Gnostics called the divine spark. And if you found this video tonight, it is because that spark inside you recognized something in the title that your conscious mind could not yet understand. You are not watching this by coincidence. You are here because your pneuma, your divine spark, recognized a frequency that the world has tried to drown out. If you've spent your life feeling like a stranger in this reality, as if you're waiting for a signal that never comes, then mark this moment. Comment the words, "The spark awakens," below. This isn't for an algorithm. It is an anchor for your own consciousness before we move into the deeper mystery. Let the other chosen ones scrolling through these comments see your commitment. What I am about to share with you is the restoration of a long-lost Gnostic mechanism, a practice that for centuries was considered the direct key for accessing the source. This is more than just a modern interpretation. It is the reconstruction of the exact spiritual technology the Gnostics believed Jesus whispered to his inner circle. 3 components, one name a gate that opens only from the inside. The Church removed this teaching because it worked, because it eliminated the need for priests, for rituals, for intermediaries, because it gave individuals what institutions cannot allow them to have direct access. Tonight you receive what they burned. To understand what Thomas heard that night, you first need to understand something the Church has hidden from you since the 4th century. There are 2 gods, not one. 2. The first is the monad, the source of all consciousness, pure, infinite, beyond form. The monad does not judge. It does not punish. It does not demand worship. It simply is. And you, the chosen one watching this right now, carry a fragment of that source inside you. The Gnostics called it the divine spark, the pneuma. It is the reason you feel homesick for a place you have never been. It is the reason this world has never felt like home. But here is what they never told you. There is a second God, a lesser God. The Gnostics called him the demiurge. He did not create consciousness. He created matter. This physical world, this prison of flesh and limitation you currently inhabit. And the demiurge does not want you to remember where you came from. He does not want you to access the monad, because the moment you do, his game is over. The demiurge is not alone. He has servants, the archons. Think of them as frequency guards. They patrol the space between you and the source. Every time you try to reach upward through prayer, through meditation, through longing, the archons intercept. They feed on your confusion. They feed on your desperation. They feed on the energy you generate when you beg a silent sky for answers that never come. Think about the times you felt most alone, even in a crowded church. That hollow feeling isn't a lack of faith. It's the archons intercepting your signal. They want you to believe that God is out there, far away and judgmental. They need you to feel small, so you never realize that the source isn't a destination. It's your origin. This is why traditional prayer does not work for you. You were never meant to ask. You were meant to command. You were never meant to beg. You were meant to declare. But that knowledge was taken from you deliberately, systematically, by an institution that needed you dependent. Take a deep breath right now. Feel your shoulders drop. Feel the tension you did not even know you were holding begin to release. You are safe here. What you are hearing is not heresy. It is your inheritance. It is the truth that was stolen from your ancestors and buried in the Egyptian desert for 1,600 years. Now let me take you back to that moment with Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas was discovered in 1945 near Nag Hammadi, Egypt. A farmer digging for fertilizer struck a clay jar. Inside were 13 leather-bound codices, 52 texts that the early church thought they had destroyed forever. Among them was the Gospel of Thomas. 114 sayings attributed to Jesus. No miracles, no crucifixion narrative, just teachings, direct transmissions. And saying number 13 is the one they feared most. Jesus asks his disciples to compare him to something. Peter says, "You are like a righteous angel." Matthew says, "You are like a wise philosopher." But Thomas says nothing. Jesus takes him aside. A sacred name is whispered. Thomas returns, changed. When the others ask what Jesus said, Thomas tells them that if he revealed even one word, they would stone him to death. For 2,000 years, scholars have debated what that name was, but the Gnostics who preserved this text knew they wrote it in other manuscripts. They encoded it in their rituals, and the church hunted them to extinction for it. Here is what that name unlocks. The monad does not respond to names the way humans understand names. The monad responds to frequency, to vibration, to recognition. The name Jesus whispered to Thomas was not a label. It was a key, a specific sound that, when spoken with full pneumatic awareness, matches the frequency of the source itself. It creates resonance. And in that resonance, something extraordinary happens. The gate opens. Not outside, you inside you. The monad gate is not a location. It is a state of frequency alignment between your divine spark and the infinite source from which it came. When the gate opens, the archons cannot perceive you. Their interference stops. For the first time in your life, the line is clear. But here is why the church could never allow this teaching to survive. In 325, the Roman Emperor Constantine convened the Council of Nika. His goal was not spiritual truth, it was political control. A unified empire needed a unified religion, and a unified religion needed gatekeepers, priests, bishops, hierarchies that controlled access to the divine. The Gnostic teaching threatened everything. It said, you do not need a priest, you do not need a building, you do not need permission. You have the spark, you have the name, you have direct access. Dangerous. Within decades, Gnostic texts were ordered burned. Gnostic teachers were executed. The punishment for possessing these manuscripts was death. They thought they had erased it completely. But some Gnostics saw what was coming. They sealed their most sacred texts in clay jars and buried them in the desert. They trusted that one day, the chosen ones would find them again. 1945. The jar breaks open. The texts return. And now tonight you are sitting here receiving what Constantine tried to destroy. This is not coincidence. The monad does not operate through coincidence. You found this video because your pneuma recognized the signal. The Gnostics taught that not every soul is at the same stage of awakening. They believed that while some would find these frequencies confusing or even invisible, others, the ones they called the pneumatics, would feel a resonance they couldn't ignore. If you are still here, it is because your inner awareness is already stirring. You aren't just watching. You are recognizing a frequency your spirit has been seeking for lifetimes. This practice is designed for those who carry that specific spark, those ready to remember their way back to the source. Before I reveal the exact name and the 3 components required to speak it correctly, I need you to do something. This is your second declaration. If you are ready to receive what Jesus whispered to Thomas, if you are ready to open the gate that has been closed for 17 centuries, comment the words, "Show me the name right now." This is not engagement for the algorithm. This is your conscious commitment to what comes next. Your pneuma is listening. The monad is listening. Declare yourself. The sound Jesus whispered wasn't a name in any human tongue. It was a tonal sequence, a key that resonates with the fabric of the monad itself. The Gnostics encoded it as Abraxas, 7 letters, 3 tones, 1 frequency. But listen carefully, the word is just the shell. Without the 3 components of activation, it is just breath. To open the gate, you must become the key. The first syllable, ah, begins deep in your belly. You feel it vibrate in your solar plexus, grounding you to the earth. The second syllable, bra, rises into your chest. Your heart center opens and resonates. The third syllable, zas, ascends into your head. The space behind your eyes activates what the ancients called the third eye. When spoken correctly, these 3 syllables create a rising column of vibration through your entire body. This column is the key. This is what opens the monad gate. But here is what separates this from every mantra you have ever tried. The sound alone does nothing. Millions of people could chant Abras tonight and feel nothing. The sound is only one component. There are 2 more. And without all 3, the gate remains sealed. The first component is recognition. Before you speak the name, you must recognize what you are. Not who you are, what you are. You are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a divine spark temporarily housed in matter. You are not from this world. You are from the monad. And you are speaking not as a creature to a creator, but as a fragment returning to its source. This recognition must be complete, not hoped, not believed known. Feel it right now. You are not your body. You are not your thoughts. You are not your history. You are pneuma divine breath source consciousness wearing flesh for a moment. The second component is authority. Traditional prayer positions you beneath. You look up, you beg, you hope. This frequency cannot reach the monad because it is the frequency of separation. The archons invented this posture. They taught humanity to kneel, to plead, to position themselves as unworthy. And then they harvested the energy of billions of desperate prayers that went nowhere. The Gnostic method is the opposite. You do not ask, you declare. You do not request, you command. Not from arrogance, from recognition. You have the authority because you carry the spark. You are not separate from the monad. You are made of it. The third component is the declaration itself, the speaking of the name. But now you understand. The name spoken with recognition and authority is a completely different frequency than the name spoken with doubt and desperation. This is what Thomas understood in that moment. This is why the other disciples would have stoned him. They were not ready. They still believed they were separate. They still believed they needed to earn access. Thomas saw through the illusion, and Jesus gave him the key because he knew Thomas would not misuse it. Tonight you receive that same key. You chosen one are ready. Close your eyes for a moment. Straighten your spine. Feel your feet pressing into the ground beneath you. You are about to do something that has not been done openly for 1,700 years. You are about to speak the name with full pneumatic activation. Here is the protocol. First, bring your awareness to the center of your chest. Feel the warmth there. This is your divine spark responding to what it knows is coming. Hold your attention there for 3 breaths. Do not force anything. Simply observe. Second, as you inhale your 4th breath, recognize what you are. Not a body, not a mind. Pure consciousness, a fragment of the infinite source. Feel this recognition settle into your bones. Third, as you exhale, release every posture of begging you have ever learned. You are not beneath. You are not outside. You are returning. You have authority here. Fourth, speak the name. 3 syllables rising through your body. Ah, beginning in your belly. Bra resonating in your heart. Zas completing in your head. Speak it slowly. Feel each syllable vibrate in its location before moving to the next. 1 breath, 1 continuous sound, a bras. That is it. 3 components, 1 sequence. The gate opens from the inside. Now let me tell you what happens next, because the signs will come quickly, and you need to recognize them. In the ancient records, those who mastered this frequency described several distinct markers of success. Many practitioners report a localized sensation of warmth in the palms or chest, a physical response to the energetic shift. Others describe a subtle pressure or pulsing at the brow, which the Gnostics viewed as the 3rd eye realigning. You may notice a sudden sharp mental clarity in the coming hours, as if a long-standing fog has been lifted. Pay attention to your environment, as your baseline frequency changes the world around you, may begin to respond in unexpected synchronous ways that defy logic. Some will be drawn closer. Others, particularly those operating unconsciously under Archon influence, will feel uncomfortable around you. There is a final hurdle. Within hours of practicing this, your mind will attempt to reset. You will hear a voice your own but not yours, telling you this was just imagination. This is the static, the frequency of the Archons trying to re-establish the prison walls. Do not fight it. Simply observe it. Every time you ignore the doubt, the monad gate opens wider. Whether you interpret this as literal cosmology, a profound psychological archetype, or a forgotten mystical framework, the power remains the same. This teaching repositions the human being not as a beggar pleading before the divine, but as an active participant within it. It is about reclaiming the authority that was stripped from you centuries ago. The chosen ones who have practiced this report that the resistance fades within 3 days. By the 7th night, the connection stabilizes. The gate remains open. The monad frequency becomes your baseline, and everything changes. You now possess what the Church buried for 17 centuries. The name they killed to suppress the frequency they could not allow humanity to access. A browse. 3 syllables. 3 components. 1 direct line to the monad. This is not something you need to believe in. This is something you do tonight, not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Tonight, before you sleep, when the world is quiet and your spark burns brightest. Jesus did not teach his inner circle to hope. He taught them to command. He did not teach them to beg the sky for permission. He taught them to recognize what they already were and speak from that authority. For 2,000 years, the Church replaced this with kneeling and pleading and waiting for a response that was designed never to come. The Archons fed well on that desperation. But you are no longer part of that system. You have the name, you have the method, you have the spark that makes it work. What you do with it now determines everything. The monad does not operate on human time, but it does respond to declaration. And right now your pneuma is more activated than it has been in years, perhaps ever. The frequency you have built by watching this video, by recognizing these truths, by feeling that response in your chest, this frequency will fade if you do not anchor it tonight. The Archons are already preparing their interference. Doubt, distraction, delay. Do not let them win. The powers that buried these scrolls 600 years ago are still active, thriving on your amnesia. By liking this video and sharing it, you are not just supporting a channel bypassing the suppression systems that keep this knowledge hidden. Subscribe to anchor yourself to this frequency. Tonight, when the house is still and the world is quiet, speak the name. But this is only the beginning of the transmission. In our next journey, I will reveal how this specific frequency was encoded in ancient coins hidden within the Book of Revelation, and why modern quantum physics is finally beginning to echo what Thomas heard in the desert 2,000 years ago. You will see why they could never truly erase the truth. The monad has been waiting for you to remember your way home.